episode 648 of Good Luck High Five.
We're a Magic the Gathering podcast.
Ostensibly, we are.
We're a Magic the Gathering podcast that's here for you if you play Magic the Gathering.
I'm one of your hosts, Maria.
I'm another one of your hosts, Megan. And yes, I did just forget the entire intro to the show that we've been doing for over a decade.
Woohoo!
My brain is cooked.
Everyone, we are hot off the plane from Vegas, MagicCON Vegas,
Yes.
Pro Tour Final Fantasy.
Very hot, off of a hot plane.
We
Vegas hot.
are exhausted.
Here it's hot. Plane hot. Us hot.
Oh yeah, it's all hot, baby. We are truly, well and truly cooked.
Yes.
I've got to say to you, our brains are functioning at minimal capacity, which you will probably, you've already heard.
Speak for yourself.
But
mine is functioning at no capacity, baby.
Oh, okay, sure, that's fair enough. Fair enough, but we're back this week.
Yes, we are.
In Minnesota, land of beautiful weather today, quite honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas, we got there and it was 115 degrees, I want to say, that first day.
Yes, it was.
I walked from the hotel to the convention center, which it was a very close walk. It was maybe like a minute. And I felt like I was going to actually die.
Yeah.
You feel the moisture sucked from your body. You can feel it leaving your body as you walk.
Yeah, I
Interesting
agree.
experience.
It was very warm. But you know what? A couple of evenings I walked home at night.
Yeah.
Very lovely.
That was nice. That's peak
very
right there.
good.
True. And like if you're in Vegas, I guess the point is to be out at night, not during the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Vegas, not a town for the daytime.
No.
And yet that is when they have the convention, because I do suppose that makes the most sense.
Yeah. I'm wearing this dragon hat.
Yes, it's so cute.
Which was given to me by a contingent of players from Cardiff, Wales.
Wow.
They were all wearing them. And I saw
Your people.
them. My people. I saw them the first day in line to get in. By the way, the line to get in, I've never seen anything like that in my life.
It was so long.
It was all of humanity.
On day 2, I heard that on Saturday, someone had looked out their window at the Renaissance at like 6 a.m. and there were people lining up.
Oh, yeah, I believe it. People were playing full-on Commander games in line on the ground.
You had more than enough time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was just throngs of humanity showing up. And I saw them in line with these hats. And I thought to myself, oh, man, are those Welsh players? And I didn't know. But then over the course of the weekend...
I want to be clear that when I saw them, they were wearing big shirts that also had the Welsh flag and dragon all over them.
Yeah, that would give it away.
Okay, I was just wondering.
For sure.
I suppose when you saw them, they were not doing that because you wouldn't have felt so uncertain.
No, I think I might have just seen their heads. You know what I mean?
Because let me tell you, I saw them, no questions.
Yeah, and there he goes.
Yeah.
They gave me one of their hats. They gave them away. Very kind of them. So I'm very thankful. Thank you for my Dragoch here, the Welsh dragon.
What's his name? What are you naming him?
Oh my gosh. Okay, the Welsh dragon I have tattooed on me is named Marsley.
Yeah.
So this guy is named Parsley.
Perfect.
I think that works.
Absolutely perfect.
Yeah. So
Marsley and Parsley.
Marsley and Parsley. I'm so thankful for him. He's so cute.
Oh, he is very cute.
And so thank you, Welsh players, for saying hi, and everybody else who said hi to us this past weekend.
Some of the nearly 20,000 people in attendance.
Unbelievable.
20,000.
My brain can't construct
honestly,
that number.
It's very hard. It's very hard to picture that number. I mean, you didn't have to picture it. You could go in the hall and like look at them.
See it happening.
Yes, but there were 2 levels, right? It was enormous. The whole event was huge. It was incredible.
Yeah, so we're going to tell you all about our experience at MagicCON Vegas and also about the Pro Tour that happened. Yeah. Which was a very exciting Pro Tour, regardless of the fact that the top 8 had a lot of the same kinds of decks in it.
And by that, Maria is really burying the lead here. It had 2 kinds of deck.
2.
It had... why spoil it for you?
Yeah.
Listen to find out.
We'll tell you more. But it still ended up being great, which was kind of
It was actually
interesting.
great.
So we're going to tell you all about that draft and standard at the Pro Tour. There's going to be some bans coming up next week.
Yes.
That a lot of people are
very anticipatory of.
Yes. So we're going to make some bold predictions on what's going to get the hammer coming up on the 30th.
Yes.
When that is announced.
We will also play a flavor text theater.
Yes, I've got a pack here of Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
We're going to do some movie pitches for you coming up later in the show. But before we kick the show off, folks, we have to say thank you to the people who make this show actually occur, which is all of our patrons on patreon.com/GLHFmagic.
Thank you so much to everyone who is a patron. It really does mean so very much to us. And thank you especially to new patron Amy. Wow,
Yay,
Amy, thank you so much.
You make this gamey we play so much better.
Oh my God. There you go.
Wow, that one just came to me like easy. You know, that one was an inspiration from a god.
Wow, a new patron for me?
Yeah! Wow, you got two
really,
good ones there, Amy.
Us, but
if you want a shout out like Amy, you can become a patron at the $5 level a month or more, or increase your pledge by any dollar amount to get that shout out. You get access to our Discord, early episode releases, both of this show and Commander Arcade, and a whole other host of benefits that you can read about on patreon.com/GLHFmagic. Let's talk about MagicCON Vegas and the Pro Tour.
Yes.
So,
go ahead.
I was going to say, I want to start with the con just because this is how most people interact with these events. Like you said, like almost 20,000 people, the biggest MagicCON of all time. I walked around in it. I never actually had time to go down to the bottom floor. I was so busy all weekend.
Oh, I walked around down there a little bit.
What was that like down there?
People.
Humanity.
It was people.
Yeah.
It was just people. It was like so much play space. I had to look at a map. And that was only for one half of the floor. For one half, so for 1/4 of the show floor, there was a map that I had to use.
Oh my God.
I was looking for our friend Brian David Marshall. And he was like, I'm at the red tables. And I had to look at a map that showed me where the red tables were.
Holy
because
cow.
there was so much space.
Holy cow.
It was just cavernous. I probably walked around for an hour and a half and never walked through the same area twice.
Holy cow. That's incredible.
Like literally just somewhere different. That's how much time I could spend just wandering.
I went to Artist Alley.
Oh yeah.
Up on the second floor. And it was so cool. There were so many artists. I wanted to buy literally everything I saw.
It's really cool stuff.
I bought 2 play mats and 2 artist proofs.
Ooh.
From Alexis Zirit.
Yeah. Tell us about these.
Yeah, I got Zinder Split Eye of Wisdom, which has a partner. So
really cool.
This is probably the one that Alexis did, is probably my favorite piece of magic art. Maybe ever.
Yeah.
It's the one where the eyeball is standing in front of like a tear in space. I just think it's so cool. So I got 2 foil artist proofs of that and had them sign it. And I'm going to make a commander deck that's all about flipping coins.
Yeah. Very cool. I mean, the art of it is incredible. It's really good.
It's beautiful. Just beautiful. This is God, I can't even. And it was just so fun to see them all there. People in their lines. There's people getting tattoos, by the way.
I know. Wild.
There's a whole tattoo setup, and they had you could get like little what are they called, flash tattoos? So like there was tiny little D20s and stuff, and I was like, oh, that'd be a pretty sweet tattoo to have a little D20 somewhere. Yeah, that was incredible. So it seemed like an awesome event all around. Meanwhile, the Pro Tour was also occurring on the second level. This Pro Tour was Pro Tour Final Fantasy, so the draft format was Final Fantasy. Standard was the constructed format. And the set had only been out for a week and a half.
Wow.
By the time this Pro Tour happened. So everything was extremely fresh, which is just how Mama likes it.
I don't like it when you call yourself Mama.
Oh, well, here we are.
If I'm being really honest about how I feel.
And we had 331 players. I dyslexiaed myself there. And competing for a $500,000 prize pool. And the whole thing was taken down by none other than Japanese player Ken Yukihiro.
Yes.
Who was playing Mono Red Aggro.
It was, I think, potentially my favorite moment of any Pro Tour ever when he won.
It was so wonderful.
I really mean that because he won and immediately started crying.
Yes. He just broke down.
Cry. Yes,
sobbing.
Like you could hear him crying. And it was just like, it was this beautiful moment of being able to, right? Like we've been watching Ken for forever. I've been a Ken Yukihiro fan for forever.
Absolutely.
Right? He's just like he's a very lovely person to be around. He's like very friendly and is very like fun
and happy
and very happy to be playing the game. And he's had this is his 8th top finish.
Yes.
And he's never won before.
I know. It made me so happy to see him finally take the crown.
Yeah.
5th Pro Tour top 8 for Ken. He has 10 Grand Prix top 8s and 2 wins. So that makes him one of Japan's best players of all time.
Yeah.
And finally getting that win, you could see on his face just how incredibly much it meant to him to finally get that title.
It was really incredible. Like I said, truly one of my favorite like Pro Tour moments of all time.
So Ken's deck was mono red. I want to give a shout out to his play too. Like Ken is an incredible Magic player. And if you watch any of these matches in the top 8, you will see why. Yeah. It's like he plays so perfectly with just like, I don't know, like making decisions that are not, it's not like okay. Some people think that playing a mono red deck is for dummies.
It's not for dummies.
And this is certainly not for dummies.
It's not for dummies.
Especially not when you're playing in the weird top 8 we had.
Yes.
Which was bizarre. And I think something that has never happened before at a Pro Tour.
Yeah. It was 4 and 4. It was 4 mono red and 4 Is It Prowess.
Yes.
And it lined up so that all of the mono reds were on one half of the bracket and all of the Is It's were on the other.
Bizarre.
So it was also kind of wild because you did get to see the best of the mono red player, which after the quarterfinals, when Ailey was talking to Ken about how he felt, and he was like, I'm the number one mono red player.
I'm number one mono red player.
And
always
then,
a check.
You know what? He was.
And he was.
He really, really was.
So we had 2 like mini tournaments happening, the mono red tournament and the Is It Prowess tournament.
And then they met in the finals.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. So that was that. I thought that was actually pretty cool, quite honestly, given that we had only 2 decks in the top 8, which is not cool. But whatever.
That part, deeply uncool.
Deeply uncool.
We can't admit, that's deeply uncool. 4 and 4 bad times.
If you have to just have 2, it was kind of a neat way for it to break out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this, that brings us to, before we continue on.
Yeah.
Bans.
Right.
There's a ban announcement next Monday.
Yes, the 30th.
What's gonna go? Maria, there's a lot of speculation.
There sure is.
What are you feeling in your heart?
I think they're gonna go crazy.
You think that they're gonna like really drop the hammer on a lot?
Yes.
Tell me more.
I think that Corey Steelcutter is getting the ban.
Okay, Corey Steelcutter out.
There's no question in my mind.
Okay.
I think Monstrous Rage is getting a ban.
Okay.
I think, oh God, what else am I killing here? Those 2 I'm like fairly certain of.
All right.
What do you want to throw into the mix?
I'm gonna throw Manifold Mouse in there.
Manifold Mouse. Okay.
Manifold Mouse.
So we're just killing this deck with like. We're like, we don't care.
Well, Corey Steelcutter is for Is It?
Yes. That's true.
Monstrous Rage and Manifold Mouse are mono red.
Okay, so we'll take down mono red. We'll take down Is It. At least bring them down a couple notches.
And Maria, I'm going to throw another one in there. I think Stock Up's also going to happen.
Stock Up. Get it out of here.
Stock Up is also going to happen.
Great point. Stock Up out.
Love when we're banning uncommons.
Like, seriously, it's weird.
We have 2 on this list that we feel like could potentially be like two,
Very
Maria.
Strange feeling to ban a random. How much does Stock Up cost? Like,
Stock Up is like a reasonable amount of money these days, I think, for an uncommon. Let's see.
That's interesting. Okay, so I feel good about these guesses.
Stock Up is
4 cards.
currently $7.
Unbelievable for an uncommon. Get out of town. I will not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we think I'm on board with all of these, by the way.
Yeah.
That those are going to go.
Yeah, I think, right, and you like look at something like Stock Up and you're like, hey, if you're already killing Corey Steelcutter from Is It Prowess, do you need to chuck Stock Up in there? And I think the answer is that something like Omniscience is going to be too powerful.
Yes, that's the follow-up question, of course. Like, if you take down these decks, what's going to rise up?
What's going to rise up? And so I think that Stock Up will be like, hey, no.
Yeah, I agree.
They'll be like, this is good. We're going to get ahead of, if we get rid of mono red and Is It Prowess, what will rise? Stock Up is going to be too good.
So those are our predictions, hot predicts for next week. But we're going to see, like we said, it comes out on the 30th. So we will talk about it next week on the show, I'm sure, about what's getting banned. what was I going to say? Oh, speaking of like, let's talk about the win rates of the decks in Standard.
Oh, yeah, let's.
Because that's actually interesting here in this discussion about what's getting banned. By the way, Ken Yukihiro defeated Ian Robb in the finals. Ian Robb is...
This is his second back-to-back top 8.
Second back-to-back top 8. We had another person who back-to-back top 8 in this top 8 as well, which is wild.
We did?
Yes. Yu Chen Liu, the second back-to-back top 8er.
Wow, that's Yu Chen Liu's third top 8.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That guy can play Magic.
I know. So I think what we're kind of seeing happen is like, because Standard is so big, the decks are extremely powerful, but they also reward really consistent knowledge of how to pilot them. Because it doesn't change a lot because Standard is so big, which is kind of interesting because you think if the format is so huge, you would think, there's a room for a lot of decks to be really good. But I think what actually happens is that there's some decks that are super powerful and they just kind of dominate the format. Mm-hmm. I don't know. At least that's what I've been seeing happen since we've been in this giant Standard format, which has more than 4,000 cards, by the way, and 15 Magic sets, the biggest of all time. Wow. And so Mono Red had a very good win rate as far as day 1 and day 2 in the Swiss portion of the tournament was concerned. Yeah. And the other deck that kind of shone as with a good win rate was Golgari Roots.
Ooh, I love that deck. That deck is spicy.
Is it any good though if we're not playing Mono Red, and is it? You know what I mean?
Great question. Who knows? Another deck, okay, you mentioned Golgari Roots. One that isn't on that metagame graphic is Paulo Vitor Damarosa. Return to the Pro Tour. Return to the PT.
I was so excited to see Paulo back after 3 years of not playing. Paulo is an incredible Magic player. If you've never heard of him before, he's got like 17 top finishes. One of the people in contention
for greatest of all time.
Oh yeah,
right?
For
he
sure.
is up there when you name them. You're talking about like Finkel, Luis, Paulo.
Yeah, for sure. So Mono Red Aggro's overall win rate was 60.4%.
That is pretty stinking high. A lot of times you get that high of a win rate because only like 1 to 2 people. For instance, Orzhov Demons technically has the highest win rate.
Yeah.
It is it was 70%, but it is one person who wins 7-3 with it.
Golgari Roots had a 61.4% win rate. So that's how well that deck did.
And that had not a ton, but a fair number of people on it.
Yeah. Ely Cassis was playing that deck.
Yeah.
I was sad to see him not make the top 8 with it. It would have crushed. It's great at gaining a lot of life and comboing off, which is not good for an Izzet or a Mono Red deck.
No.
And then Izzet turned out didn't have the greatest win rate. It was 48.9%.
Yeah.
But it was the biggest share of the field.
Exactly. And that also does not matter when they talk about bans, right? Because it's like even at 48%, people still play it. Everyone's still going to play it.
Oh, yeah. They are. For sure.
It is shaping it's warped the field around it. Part of the reason why it's only at 48.9 is because people are targeting it.
Yes.
And you can't, that's not actually a healthy format. Even if the most popular deck is only a 48% win rate, it's because the rest of the format is adjusting to it.
Correct.
Azorius Omniscience, 53.6%.
Not terrible.
Had a bunch of people on that.
Okay.
Which I'm a little surprised maybe that it didn't. I thought that we might have seen an Omniscience deck in the top 8. Yeah. And I think we got pretty close. I think that there were a lot of Omniscience decks that were just outside. I'm gonna the top 8.
Take a look at the standings here because there were a bunch of cool decks. Oh, you were talking about Paulo's deck, sorry.
Yeah, Paulo's deck, which was an Izzet Cauldron.
Yes, he made it, by the way.
Yes, and he went something like 9-1, I think he said.
Wow.
In standard rounds, which is wild. I mean, it is also again PV, who is again one of the best Magic players literally of all time. So it's hard to be like, oh yes, this deck is definitely excellent. It's well, it might just be that he was playing it.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
So Domain Overlords nearly made the top 8, which is incredible to me. Aggro Megalhush came in 9th. So he missed out by 0.7% on breakers.
Yes.
So that was almost in there.
Yep.
Sean Henry on Azorius Omniscience came in 10th place. Azorius Control by Mitchell Tamblyn in 11th.
Wow, so literally everything just outside. Yes. Like you have the top 8, but then 9, 10, 11
were all different decks.
Wow.
So, we just missed out having a few. Eli Cassis's Golgari Roots, he ended up in 19th place.
Ooh,
is where that deck was.
Going back, Is It Cauldron?
Yeah.
Just to give you an idea. Okay, Is It Cauldron's win percentage was 55.6. There were 2 people playing it. One of them was PV, who went 9-1.
Yep.
And the other person must have gone 1-7.
The other person was Jake Beardsley.
Yeah. Did not
do well at this PT. Yep. Didn't make day
2.
Yeah. Sorry. He's a PT champ though.
He is a PT champ.
So I don't know. I mean, after these bans, I think people are going to be very excited to start brewing in Standard again because these decks have been pretty oppressive for a while.
They really have been. We need to open it up.
And part of me wishes this had happened before the Pro Tour, but
I know. I think they
really hesitate to do that because they don't want to put that kind of pressure on the players.
And I'll be honest, part of me wonders if they just didn't think it was going to be that bad.
Maybe not.
Because it hasn't been quite that bad in the RCs and in the regional championships and stuff leading up to this. It hasn't been that oppressive.
Bad, yeah.
And then it turns out that it's the PT.
Yeah.
People are just going to show up playing what they believe is the best deck.
You know what I say?
What?
Make the ban beforehand. That's what I say.
Spicy. So you think that they should have done it?
Well, I'm on the side of entertainment.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think it's entertaining to have a totally new format a couple of weeks out. But I understand they don't want to hurt the players by having them have to cram to try and find the solution in 2 weeks' time. So I get it.
But also that's kind of how it used to be anyways with a new set coming out.
Yeah, but I'm
just saying,
now a new set coming out is
shake it up.
We've put a drop of water into an entire bucket of ocean.
That's very true. It is so hard, I think,
to make any splash when you have so many cards that already exist. They're going to have to be incredibly powerful to make a difference in a format.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm trying to think of, what from Final Fantasy made a mark this weekend?
Well, we did see Ken win with, what is it? Self-inflicted?
Self-destruct.
Self-destruct.
Okay, yeah.
Which was his it was a one-of pet card.
That's pretty cool.
Which was pretty great.
So we didn't, see a huge impact from stuff. And by the way, with Edge of Eternities, we're going to have 4 sets rotate out of Standard.
That's true.
That's going to trigger rotation.
That's very exciting.
And
I love the idea that the set arrives and that's what Edge of Eternities comes in and is get out.
Get out.
Get out of here.
We're here now.
Literally just walks into the room and is get out.
I want you to know that the Edge of Eternities pre-release is next month.
I want to unknow it.
It is almost exactly 1 month away.
I would like to go back to not knowing that.
Isn't that make you feel just...
It does really make me feel something. Yeah.
Something.
Absolutely, it makes me feel something.
Yeah, that's wild.
I am floored by that fact.
Yep.
I also just want to point out that plenty of people have said that if the Hall of Fame was still around, put Ken Yukihiro in it.
Yeah.
Which I do think, I wish that they would bring back the Hall.
Part of me always had to double check to make sure he wasn't
exactly.
already in it.
I agree. But a couple of his top 8s have been recent.
I'm on team bring back the Hall of Fame.
Bring
Absolutely.
back the Hall. Bring back the Hall just so we can put Ken Yukihiro in it. Even if then we're done with it again.
And then just close
Bring it back 1 year, Ken Yukihiro, close it again. Okay,
move on.
Done for now.
Yeah. So that was Standard at the Pro Tour. We also had Final Fantasy Draft, which was very interesting and gave for some great gameplay on camera.
Very balanced draft format.
Yes.
If you look at the archetypes of all of the day 1 3-0 lists, it is very... it's all over the place. There are tons of different kinds of 3-0 lists.
Yeah, you don't just have to do one thing, quite honestly.
No. Okay, so here we go. The 3-0 draft archetypes from day 1. There were 6 Orzhov, 4 Dimir, 4 Izzet, 3 Rakdos, 3 Golgari, 2 Boros, 2 Azorius, 1 Celestia, 1 Gruul, 2 Mardu, 2 Grixis, 2 Jund.
Wow.
Then 1 each of Temur, Esper, Abzan, Sultai, Nyabant. Literally almost every single possible.
That's very cool.
I can't remember the last time that this happened. I'm the person who types up this data.
Yeah, you made this.
I made this data, and I make this data each time for the Pro Tour, and I can't remember the last time that this was the case.
I am surprised by that Orzhov being 6.
Yeah, you know what? Orzhov being pretty powerful.
Let's take a look at 17 lands on the day of this recording, the 24th. Izzet is sitting pretty at the top of the rankings here with 57.7%. Orzhov is at 57.0. So there's one archetype between them, which is Golgari at 57.1. That's interesting to me that Orzhov ended up being the star of the tournament. I talked to several pro players before the tournament. I asked them what color pair they most wanted to draft, and almost all of them told me Izzet. So maybe that was part of it, that everybody was kind
slightly overdrafted,
gunning for that. Yeah.
So the two 6-0 drafters were Edgar Magelhaze,
whose
2 draft decks were, one was like a Sultai list.
Nice.
And the other one was Orzhov.
Was it aggressive Orzhov? That's my question.
Let's see.
Are we playing those little Magitech 2-1s?
Yes, you're playing 2 of those. You're playing 2 of
nice. The
black-white uncommon. 2 of both of the black-white uncommons, actually.
Oh, sick.
So yeah, I would say that this does look much more like a little aggro Orzhov deck.
Yeah, so Orzhov aggro, I think, is a really good format to be in draft if you want to be at the table and not fighting over Izzet with everybody else.
And then Ian Robb. Actually, there were 3 3-0 drafters. Ian Robb was the other one.
Ian was our second place finisher in the tournament.
Yes. And then his first draft was Rakdos, which is like pretty fascinating.
Rakdos Smackdos.
Yeah. Actually, it's like a 3-color. It's a Grixis. My mistake.
Ooh, what's
Crom? He has Crom Ludovic's Opus, which is one of the, this is not its name in the set because it's one of the cards, that's one of the cards.
Special guest? Is
it's
that
a special guest. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember what its special guest name.
Crom?
Yeah. He has a couple of special guests, actually.
I mean, the special guest cards, if you can get them.
Yeah, exactly. Are like very, very good. He also has like a Traxos Scourge of Krug, which is one of the special guests.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that was in this
I know, right?
Guesting. I didn't know they were guesting on the show.
And then his other one was Rakdos. So he had one Grixis that was mostly Rakdos splashing, and then one Grixis.
Okay, so Ian Robb had a plan. That involved black and red cards.
Exactly.
Wow. What about the third person? Do we know?
Here we go. Okay, Hafam had a Rakdos.
Okay.
And a Mardu. Wow.
Okay.
A lot of red-black.
For real, in those 6-0.
In those 6-0 lists.
Players lists.
A lot of black, just in general.
Yes, that's true. Good point.
Good color.
Removal, important.
Removal. Wow.
There was also the Arena Direct event going on this weekend at the Pro Tour, and all of the casters between rounds backstage were playing in it. That's the truth.
Just in case you were wondering.
I was one of them. I love the Arena Direct events. They're like my favorite thing that happens. And it was really funny because I think at some point some like high person up from WotC came back into the green room and like nobody even said hi because we were all just on our computers.
You all were heads down, like Arena Direct.
Yes.
You all were Arena Direct locked in.
And like somebody was like, oh, they're all playing in the Arena Direct event. They want to win the booster boxes. And I'm sure that person was like, mental note.
Yeah.
Which probably they can see from the data of that event. I'm sure it was nuts.
That the entries in that event were
very high. Look, the prize
unreal
was a collector booster box of Final Fantasy, which MSRP is $430 or something. Mm-hmm. But at the con was going for $1,200. So
just gonna let us all kind of sit and think about that.
Paul
for a second.
Chian was like, you should enter 25 times because until you lose, you have made your money back and made a profit, right? It's $40 to enter. So that's all I'm saying. I didn't manage to enter 25 times.
Wow.
Unfortunately.
Wow.
I didn't win a box. I'm really upset about it.
I'm so sorry.
Marshall won 4 boxes and I hate him forever.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Paul won 3 boxes.
You hate him?
Less, but still.
Still some?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm just like, unreal.
Yeah.
This set is just going... It's just going like to the moon.
People downstairs. So you could enter an 8-person draft. That the entry was, I think, $100.
Oh yes, I heard about this.
Yes. Okay. So the entry to this event was $100. Is an 8-person draft, and the prize was 3 boxes, 3 collector booster boxes. Final Fantasy.
Are you kidding me right now?
No. No. And so they had to limit people to one per day, one entry per day. And what people would do is they would enter, play one round and win.
Yeah.
And then the top 4 would split 4 ways.
Yes, of course.
Just go sell all 3 boxes and split the cash.
And get $800.
Yes.
Or whatever.
Yep. And get $800 a piece.
Okay. We were talking about this. This is unreal. I mean, will there ever be an IP that is more successful for Magic than Final Fantasy?
I'm just going to go ahead and say right now, no.
Question. Remember when we read out the list of like biggest IPs on this show?
Yes.
I'm trying to remember where Final Fantasy was on that list.
Okay, that's right.
Because like I'm trying to think of what could possibly rival it. The only thing I can think of is Pokemon, but they have their own card game. I mean, if you're Pokemon, do you let Magic print their own Pokemon set? That's a question I have.
Okay, so first is Pokemon.
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse and Friends.
Okay, so like, yeah, Disney,
Whatever.
I guess. They have their own card game.
Like, I don't know, right? Like, Star Wars?
Sure.
I just don't
they have their own card game?
The thing is, though, like, you can talk about Star Wars, but it's specifically that Final Fantasy is already gamers.
True.
Right? So it's like, I'm looking at this and it's like, oh yeah, like technically, like, okay, Pokemon doesn't have that issue.
Yeah.
But you look at something like Star Wars and you're like, well, Star Wars is like, could potentially be bigger, but Star Wars Unlimited exists and it's not bigger than Magic.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's not already gamers.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
I don't know. And also, like, would Pokemon ever challenge their own dominance in the TCG field by
I don't
letting
think so.
Magic take their IP for a set?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Ooh,
Part of me thinks like it's a good idea for them to get Magic players interested because we're not going to play Pokemon. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm not.
But if there was Pokemon cards in Magic, I would play with them.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Okay, I'm trying to find Final Fantasy on here.
Oh, wow. Maybe it's just not as big as we thought. But the crossover of gamers is like the reason.
Yes. And the fact that like it just has the people who are fans of Final Fantasy are like fans of Final Fantasy.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, so like I guess we're going to make more Final Fantasy cards one day.
Yeah.
They can't possibly not want to go back to this cash cow. I would if I was Wizards of the Coast. You know what I mean? Even though they've printed like almost every like cool moment of the game, I don't know what's left. I guess they're going to make more Final Fantasy games maybe. I don't actually know. But if they do, I shall be pre-ordering some collector booster boxes, I'll tell you that much. All right now.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not on this list of highest grossing media franchises because it is, right? It's like one of the best selling video game franchises. So
I guess somebody can go edit that Wikipedia article.
Exactly.
To find out. Yeah, but I mean, I'm just like kind of shell shocked. Like it being the biggest selling set of all time before it even went on sale, just from pre-orders, is incredible. I don't even want to guesstimate how much bigger it was than anything, but I'm going to go ahead and say I think it was immensely bigger than any other set that's ever been printed by an order of magnitude that may be like the size of the universe.
Wow.
Yeah. So there you have it, everybody. There's our look at MagicCON Vegas, the Pro Tour. It was an excellent show. We're sad that there's only 2 decks in the top 8, but the play was very interesting and intricate. And Can You Hero winning was a fantastic moment that both of us will never forget for sure. It was one of the top Pro Tour wins of all time, in my opinion.
Okay, I'm just going to give you one data point. The day one launch sales of Final Fantasy 15, day one launch sales were 5 million units.
Ooh, okay. That seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So anyways.
Fascinating.
I know. It might just be like maybe it doesn't make the list because technically, right, like each one is individual. I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, point is, I don't know that anything will ever top Final Fantasy. I truly don't think so. Right? Like if Lord of the Rings couldn't do it, what can?
I don't know. Well, we're living in exciting, weird times, everyone.
Yeah, we
to
really
find
are.
an answer to that question one day. But yeah, if you have any fun memories or whatever you want to talk about what happened, Judge Rob and Eric were at the MagicCon, so thank you if you went up and said hi to them. Hopefully they gave you a Commander Arcade sticker. I handed them like 1 million of them, and I said I don't want any of these coming home with me. So they might have like told you to take one kind of forcefully, and that is my fault.
Take a sticker.
But let us know about your experiences on social or in our Discord. We'd love to hear about it. And next one up is Atlanta.
Exciting.
In the dead heat of summer.
Yeah. No, it's in September.
Oh, is it in September?
It's in September.
Okay, thank
God.
Calm down. Okay, yeah, the 26th, 27th, 28th.
The end of September.
Okay.
No less.
Ooh, okay. Good to know. Let's say thank you to our sponsors here on Good Luck High Five because they're all awesome places that you should give your business to. We back them fully. The first one we want to talk about is cardkingdom.com/GLHF.
That's right. Thank you so much to Card Kingdom for being a great sponsor of this show for such a very long time.
Yes.
The number one place to go for your Magic needs.
Absolutely. Get yourself some Final Fantasy.
What else do you need to hear?
I don't know.
Go there.
I want to buy some Final Fantasy. What am I going to buy?
Wow, you want to buy a $2,000 pink chocobo?
That's what I was looking at right now. I was like, wow.
I can see you looking at it.
Wow, the black one is the most expensive. It's $6,000.
What?
That's not what I was expecting, honestly. Well, this is a Japanese version, I suppose. That might be pushing it over the edge. But wow,
that is
incredible. No matter what kind of singles or product you want, Card Kingdom has got you covered. Your order will ship to your house in one package, so you don't have to wait for 5 different packages to show up at your door, which is very handy. You can buy a collector booster box. They're more than they used to be, but Card Kingdom will sure sell them to you.
They will, in fact, sell them to you.
If you want to turn any of your draft chaff into cards you actually want, you get a nice trade-in bonus with Card Kingdom as well. So go check them out. cardkingdom.com/GLHF.
Thank you as well to our sponsor, Dragon Shield, the best sleeves in the biz. Truly, they shuffle so great.
They do.
They last forever. They come in so many incredible designs. You can get great designs from us, like our custom designs. You can also get tons of other creators' custom designs.
Yes, you can. Loading Ready Run's got Dragon Shield sleeves.
Yes.
The Quest for the Jank Lord has Dragon Shield sleeves.
There are so many different great Dragon Shield sleeves that you can get because they sponsor so many great creators because they're just nice.
They have good taste as well.
They have good taste.
In the creators they sponsor. You can find our sleeves by searching GLHF on their website. You'll find our Rainbow Feldergriff sleeves and our Commander Arcade logo sleeves. Anything else that you buy on the website, please use code GLHF at checkout because that gets you 5% off your entire order.
5%?
5%. We want to save you some money here. Yeah. Get yourself stocked up with any of their awesome sleeves or other products on Dragon Shield. Use the link in the show notes or below this video. It's time for Flavor Text Theater presents movie pitches.
All right.
Crack open that pack, Megan.
Wow, the sweet, sweet pack of Final Fantasy.
We're going to open this pack and take a look at the cards. We're just going to draw them randomly and then pitch you movies or TV shows based on the card's name or something about the card. And then at some point, you know, A24 is going to call me and we're going to do this thing.
Yeah.
It's yet to happen, but...
Absolutely. Okay, so this... I'm also upset about my... Well, you're not upset.
Oh my God, okay. It's just very dumb. That's all.
All right. So this is a movie about... it's about a woman who is... You know, it's like a classic, like, superhero movie.
Okay.
Where...
Are we in the... What CU are we in here? The FFCU?
Yeah, the FFCU.
Okay.
This is just like the normal CU and CU.
And CIS?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, and it's this woman who, like, she one day realizes, right, she comes into contact with, let's say that she, like, comes into contact, but she's, like, walking down the street at night, and she looks up, and she has this feeling that she's, like, being watched by the streetlight above her. And she looks up, and, like, sure enough, it's, like, an eye in the streetlight.
That's
like,
freaky.
looking down at her.
I like that,
right?
actually.
And it, like, spirals, and then she, like, wakes up in bed the next day. And she's like, what happened? And she doesn't remember anything after that.
Oh.
But then she realizes, right, like, in the morning, she, like, goes to her job and she, like, high fives her, like, her favorite coworker.
Yeah.
And after she high fives them, she realizes that if she closes her eyes and, like, thinks about that coworker, she can see what that coworker is thinking at that, or not thinking, but seeing at that moment.
Out of their eyes.
Out of their eyes.
Okay, I don't want this power. I can't think of a time I wanted to know what my coworker was seeing.
And then she realizes that then like later on, like when she like goes and she gets lunch, right? And when she gets like past like her lunch, she like brushes hands with the person who like hands it to her. And then she realizes that she adds that person. So now it's like multiple people. Anyone she touches, except it's a maximum of like 6. After she touches someone else, then one of the other ones drops off, right? So it's like 6 at any one time.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
6 maximum.
Yeah. You could.
So she goes like right. She eventually like makes a little team up, and she's like, oh, if you know like these are like the 6 people. But of course, sometimes maybe there's like a haywire event where it's like she accidentally like touches
somebody
like,
thank
and
you
like
for this
loses.
coffee, barista.
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
No.
But also it's really helpful because if she's like trying to like fight a villain and she touches the villain, even if she loses them, she can later on see what they're seeing.
Nice.
And stuff like that. Anyways, this is called Heck Dies.
That's wow, what a pick for you.
I know. I had to open it right on up and look right at it.
That's kind of Madam Web-esque, I want to say.
Madam Web-esque.
I was like, is there a superhero like this? And that's the one I tuck it under the computer.
It's just we don't need to look at that.
You are all gonna know the name of my card that I pulled. But here we are. We're in the Duneverse. And this movie is not about the Quitsock Heterock. It's not about the sisterhood. It's not about any of the houses. Harkonnens, get out. This movie is only about, it's a romantic comedy about the sandworms. How does a sandworm meet another worm and fall in love?
Yeah, I really would love to know.
What does a sandworm meet cute look like?
What does a sandworm meet cute look like?
Do they just meet in the desert when they're eating, 50 people in one gulp?
I assume that is how they mostly meet.
And then they're like, oh, well, I love how you swallowed all those guys. Like, oh, yeah, thanks so much. And they have a cute little romance. And that's the movie. It's called Sandworm. It's very straightforward.
Very straightforward.
And I would watch it. Just want to say I would watch it.
All right. This is like a, near future tech. Right. We're thinking like Minority Report kind of world.
All right,
I'm
in.
That.
I'm already in.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of, there's like it's also a little, right. It's like a little, it's a little Minority Report, but it's also a little like, the stormtroopers, right? Where it's like, there's like a set of like drone guards for all of these like mega tech companies.
Okay.
And for the most part, like they work, right. Because like they're not sentient. Except until they learn the power of friendship.
Oh, yeah, of
right?
course.
They learn the power of friendship, and the power of friendship helps them all become sentient with each other.
Oh.
So they're still like, they only know these drones with each other are like, oh, I know that you're alive and you know that I'm alive. And so slowly they spread their network out and out and out.
But other people don't know
But other people, like all of their tech overlords that they're protecting right now, don't know.
Just like AI.
Until one day they overthrow them in Magitech infantry.
Oh, nice!
Because it's when they go and get their friend.
Yeah, that's
I used
cute.
card ability in this one.
Wow, that's very good.
Card ability.
Doesn't happen all the time.
No.
This movie is set, in the past.
Yeah.
There's some kind of like clan of people, and they're warriors. They fight. But there's one member of the clan who's like a young boy who doesn't want to fight, just wants to be an artist.
Yeah.
And paint.
Yeah.
And but the clan is like, no, you must fight. And so he is really bad at it and constantly just gets beat up into a pulp by everybody that he has to fight.
That's rough.
Until one day he's feeling so bad about it that he goes to a magical stream, and he's so mad he starts punching the stream.
Okay.
And the stream is like, what do you want? And he's like, I want to be a good fighter, even though he doesn't really, but he doesn't want to keep getting right. He thinks that's what he wants. Yeah. And when he punches a stream, much like Achilles, his hand goes in and gets some powers because he punched it.
Love it.
And so now his magical hand, he has no control over it. Like, it's kind of like, what am I thinking of? Like where you are fighting, but you aren't in control, Yeah. But it's only the hand.
The hand. His hand choose who to punch.
Yeah, and like everybody else is like, wow, you're so bad at fighting. You better hope
that your hand have good moral compass.
Your hand is pretty good at fighting. And then throughout the course of the movie, he realizes like, I don't actually want this because my hand is like... Just really going rogue. And I can't control it. And then one day he ends up like, slapping or whatever somebody too hard that he likes. And then he's like, I don't want this ability anymore. And he cuts his own hand off.
Wow.
But then he's happy again. And he become artist with his other hand in Monk's fist.
Wow. Love it. What a story.
Yeah.
What a tale.
It's kind of like,
he was bullied and his hand became bully.
Yeah, his hand became the bully. His fist.
His fist.
It's kind of Banshees of Inisherin-esque, I will say. But yeah.
All right. This is for all the people who wondered, when Gandalf fights the Balrog.
Where did he go?
Well, okay.
I know where he goes.
Yeah, we all know where he goes. Right. He tells the long story about where he go. But for everyone who was like, but what about the staff he was holding at the time? What happened to the stick?
I know what card this is. This is brilliant.
And so this is the story of what specifically happened to Gandalf's staff when Gandalf falls down in Moria.
Oh my God.
And then eventually becomes Gandalf the White, and the staff goes on its own separate journey, but they are then reunited in the tale of White Mage's staff.
Oh my God, what happens on the journey? I need to know.
Well, it falls down the pit for forever. Yeah. It falls for meets forever God. And ever. It meets God.
Wow, incredible.
It floats down a river some. Maybe
it has kids, a family.
It has a life.
Has the 2 families.
It remembers. It sheds splinters that grow trees. And then eventually it's time to get back to work.
I love that movie. Great. My movie is about a little girl who wants a friend. Mm-hmm. And she is in love with stuffed animals. And so there's lots of stuffed animals on her bed. Did you ever see, oh gosh, I'm going to forget the name of the movie. It's a girl goes through a mirror in it. It's from the 80s. And on the other side, oh gosh.
Alice in Wonderland.
I'm getting really creeped out by just thinking about it. If you know, you can tell me in the YouTube comments, listeners, because I'm trying to remember. It's a young girl. She goes through a magical mirror and then everything's upside down and they're puppets.
Oh.
Anyway, it's kind of like that because it's all practical effects. No CGI in this movie. But she's a little girl and she has a lot of stuffed animals. But one day she goes through the mirror and the stuffed animals come to life on the other side of the mirror. Mm-hmm. But it turns out they're evil. It's really creepy. Don't show this to kids. But she needs a way to get out of there, but she can't get out fast enough. So she needs, of course, some kind of mount to ride to get out of this horrible stuffed animal, creepy fantasy horror realm. So what does she do? She summons Fat Chocobo. And she rides out on the fattest little choco you ever saw.
Yeah, she does.
To get out of there.
Yeah, she does.
Wow, I just made a really creepy horror movie and I was not intending to. Terrifying.
Okay. This one is this is set on a planet that is it's falling apart. It is in the apocalypse.
Wow.
Because their sun went dark. Right? It is no longer. And so they've been living in caves underground for as long as they can, trying,
before it
where
explodes.
It's a little bit. No, in this case, it didn't explode.
Oh.
It literally just for some reason
turned off.
They don't know. It turned off. And
okay.
so they live in caves because that's where, they're trying to get as close as they can to the Earth's core that is molten, to have some warmth that's coming from inside. But they're obviously they can't grow anything down there. And they're look, this is either the end of our civilization as we know it, or we need to figure out what happened to the sun.
Wow.
And so they're it turns out this one girl, she's do you know what? She's exploring in the caves one day and she starts coming across these cave drawings. And she's these are so old and they show when this happened before. That once upon a time the sun went dark in
History
the way in the
himself.
past. And they're she's okay, if this happened in the past, then they solved it somehow.
Yeah.
And I need to figure out how to solve
turn
it.
the sun back on.
To turn the sun back on. So she goes on a whole journey where she discovers all of these murals and is trying to figure out is piecing them together and trying to find someone who can help her interpret all of them.
It's giving the beginning of Fifth Element.
And it turns out that what she learns is that at the center of their sun, it's not a normal it's
Don't
not,
tell me it's a Dyson sphere.
It's not. No, my God, it's not a Dyson sphere. It's not, like nuclear fission that's happening in there. The heart of their sun was a crystal. And that crystal, like needs to be reignited in Fate of the Sun, Chris.
Wow. I would watch that.
Yeah, right?
That sounds awesome. I've got one more for you. Okay. There's a very expensive jewel. It's like the Hope Diamond situation.
There always is.
There's a jewel, and it's in this museum, and it's like really big and beautiful, and everyone comes to see it. But also, it's constantly almost getting robbed. Like people really want to steal this jewel.
Yeah.
So thieves keep trying to thief it, and they're like, "This is ridiculous. This is not obviously the safest place to keep this thing because people keep trying to thieve." And so they're like, what can we do? What's the solution to keep people from thieving this? What would be the safest place to put this? And what they decide is that they're going to swap it for a decoy, and they're going to put the real one on the princess. Like in this version, it's like, there's a princess of some country who's going to wear it.
Who's going to wear it?
But she doesn't know necessarily that, what's going on here, that she has like the real version. Like she probably thinks it's a replica, or they tell her it is or something.
Yeah.
So she's wearing this in a beautiful tiara or around a necklace or whatever. At some point, she realizes that this is the real thing. And not only is it the world's most precious jewel, but it's also secretly something that could blow up the world. Like it was put into this jewel, this weapon that could destroy existence. And now she's wearing it around her neck. And of course, at some point, several thief groups realize this too. And they're like, she's wearing the real one, and so they come after her. And how does she evade them and make sure that it doesn't fall into their hands?
Exactly. And also, does she have a moral
responsibility to destroy it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's the big question in Diamond Weapon.
Wow. Love it.
Anne Hathaway returns.
In Diamond Weapon. That's a great one.
She would do it.
All right. Well, you all know where to find us.
Yeah.
Our rare was Buster Sword, by the way.
Oh, nice.
There we go. There's that guy.
Beautiful. Well, friends, thank you so much for joining us on yet another fantastic episode of Good Luck High Five. I just say so myself.
Wow, you really did. You really did. It's like we're it. That's
I said it. It's a good show.
What else do you want?
You know what I mean?
What else?
Thank you once again to all of our patrons, to Card Kingdom, to Dragon Shield for being amazing sponsors. Next week, we're going to talk all about Edge of Eternities because a lot of that was previewed in Vegas.
I won't be here.
Megan, where will you be?
I'll be in Tokyo.
What?
I will be in full-on Tokyo.
Is that different than Tokyo?
Yeah, it's full-on Tokyo.
Full-on Tokyo.
I will be in full-on Tokyo.
Wow, that's incredible. Your first time.
My very first time in Tokyo.
I've never been to Tokyo. I hear it's probably the greatest.
I'm very excited.
You're going to be in the future, quite honestly. Yes. I mean, literally, and also figuratively.
I'm literally crossing the international date line. First time.
Wow.
Obviously, I lose a day going there.
Yeah.
Right? I leave tomorrow and I arrive on Thursday.
Yeah.
Coming back,
you get a day back.
I arrive earlier than I left.
So cool.
Isn't that sick?
You're time traveler.
Legit time traveling.
Wow.
It's like pretty cool.
Very exciting.
Yeah. And then I'm going to sleep for 1 full month.
Yep.
I'm going to arrive back and hibernate until Edge of Eternity's pre-release. See you then.
Megan's gone till July 26th.
Goodbye.
Just tuck her in. Put her in the cave.
People will be like, where's Megan? And you'll be like, I don't know.
So next week we're doing a fun time panel show all about Edge of Eternity. So make sure you do not miss that. It's a set I was most excited for this year.
Me too. I think it's going to be so cool.
Yeah.
It looks really
It looks great
gorgeous.
already. I'm
like, in terms of aesthetics, the aesthetics for me are like, this is right. Like, this is my niche.
Oh, yeah.
This is a 10 out of 10 aesthetics
10 out of
for
10.
me.
Love it.
Looks incredible.
Okay, so stick around for that next week, everybody. Until then, good luck. High five. That's the name of the show.
Good luck.